Call the annual Valentine's Day meeting of the City Commission to order on February 14th, 2012. May we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May we take roll?
Commissioner Bushy?
Here.
Commissioner Kuziak?
Here.
Commissioner Perry? Here. Commissioner Rubino?
Here.
Mayor Costelli?
Here. Next item is consideration of the following minutes. Regular City Commission meeting held Tuesday, January 10th, 2012. Is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move the minutes for the regular City Commission meeting held Tuesday, January 10th, 2012 be approved as recommended.
Is there support?
Support.
May we take a vote?
Commissioner Bushy?
Yes.
Commissioner Rubino?
Here.
Commissioner Perry?
Yes.
Commissioner Kuziak?
Yes.
Mayor Costelli?
Yes, motion carries. Next item is the January 2012 disbursement report. Amy?
Payroll and accounts payable for the month of January was provided to all of you prior to the meeting. Payroll for the month was $57,214.38, and accounts payable was $702,358.59, of which $434,010.20 was payable in tax liabilities.
Is there a motion?
Mayor, I move that the January disbursement report be approved as listed.
Is there support?
Support.
Any questions? May we take a vote?
Commissioner Kuziak?
Yes.
Commissioner Rubino?
Yes.
Commissioner Bushy?
Yes.
Commissioner Perry?
Yes.
Mayor Costelli?
Yes, motion carries. Next item is consideration of the proposed agreement between the City of Ferndale and the City of Pleasant Ridge for fire protection services. Tonight, finishing a home-and-home visit, we have Mayor Dave Coulter, Councilwoman Piana, and the new city manager, April McGrath, who we haven't met before, so she has to come to the microphone, and the Chief Sullivan we've met several times before. Mayor Coulter.
Well, thank you very much, and thanks for the bribe. I'm easily bought with chocolate, especially from Gail's.
That's why you put them under the table.
As you know, and well, as most of you know, because most of you were there last night, at our Ferndale City Council meeting last night, we approved the same agreement, and I'll just repeat very briefly what I said last night, which is I really appreciate not only the 90-year friendship and support, fire service support that we've had as neighbors for, these many years, but I know that within your right to do, you took a look at the contract and what you wanted to do moving forward, and we always hope that in the end you might decide to re-up with Ferndale, and we're delighted that that's what we're doing tonight, and we appreciate it. And I really appreciate Mayor Costelli, your help, and Sherry in particular. You know, we've had a lot of meetings over the last several months, a lot of negotiations going on. I think that we've ended up with a contract that is provides significant benefits to both communities. I hope you feel that way as well, and so I just want to thank you and thank the Commission for all your support as well. We really appreciate it. We love being your neighbors, and we appreciate another opportunity to work together on fire services. So,
And please introduce April, because Sharon and I have met her many times, but we haven't.
Manager, and first female ever, city manager of Ferndale.
Thank you very much. I'm excited to meet all of you, and I want to echo Mayor Coulter's thoughts and also echo some things that Ms. Ball said last night. This has been a great opportunity for me to get to know your council, to get to really know Sherry and form a very good friendship as it relates to our neighbors. So I'm really looking forward to working with your community, and I'm very fortunate to be in a community such as Ferndale as well. So again, thank you very much for your work on this, and I'm looking forward to meeting all of you in further meetings, so thank you.
It's a pleasure been working with both of you.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Piana, giving up her flowers.
Hi, I'm Melanie Piana. I'm here. I'm part of the Echo Chorus to say thank you, and actually to honor everybody who has worked hard behind the scenes and the amount of hours that was put in to come up with this negotiation. I know how much we all are dedicated to our communities and making things work and continue our service agreement, so thank you.
Thank you. Sherry.
Well, I guess I will just add, as I did last night in forming the Ferndale City Council, what a pleasure it was indeed to work with Mayor Coulter and April. It was a different experience. There were a lot of challenges that had to be faced. I think Ferndale had some special challenges with the changeover in personnel and the timing of the contract, and it was such a monumental issue, but it was an absolute delight when everybody got on board and we were able to sit down in a room and just say no one's leaving until we get this done. So thank you to both of them, and I think no one is happier than me to see this come to an end tonight. So,
And with that, is there a motion to approve the Fire Protection Services Agreement between the City of Ferndale and the City of Pleasant Ridge?
Mayor, I move the agreement for the fire protection services between the City of Ferndale and the City of Pleasant Ridge be approved, and that the mayor, city clerk, city manager, and city attorney be authorized to sign the agreement as recommended.
Is there support?
Support.
Questions, comments?
Mayor, if I could.
Yes.
Just want to wish you and our commission happy Valentine's Day and everyone who's come out to celebrate Valentine's Day today. I think the holiday is especially appropriate. My mom counseled me when I was younger and heartbroken that breakups are temporary, and that if you break up with someone, that if they come back, that it was meant to be. So I'm glad that the men of the Ferndale Fire Department have come back to us. I just wanted to thank a few people as we recommit ourselves tonight to what I believe is a very important relationship, the partnership between Ferndale and Pleasant Ridge, and specifically the Ferndale Fire Agreement. This agreement has been extremely beneficial to the residents of our city for generations, and I am thankful that the two parties were able to come together and continue this bond between neighbors. I want to thank Mayor Castelli and our city manager Sherry Ball, along with Ferndale Mayor Dave Coulter and their new city manager April McGrath, for bringing this agreement to fruition. I know it was hard work, and I appreciate the effort on both sides. Thanks also to our colleagues, past and present, Commissioner Bushy, Commissioner Rubino, Commissioner Perry, for their efforts in bringing this issue to a resolution, along with the Ferndale Council members who helped prepare this contract on their end. Also, I believe it is necessary at this time to commend Chief Sullivan, Pat Sheehan, and all the brave men of the Ferndale Fire Department who continue to watch over and protect the families of our city. It is citizen appreciation for the job that they do which drives our commitment to them. Finally, I want to thank the many residents of our community who raised their voices in support of this partnership. Citizens stepped up and invigorated debate on this issue, asking that their leaders consider their desires as they deliberated the future of the Ferndale Fire contract. It is my sincere hope that this episode of public engagement continues and strengthens at all levels of government, because our democracy is only as good as we make it. I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight and remind you that we're here the second Tuesday of every month and we'll be looking for you.
Other questions or comments?
Mayor?
Yes.
If I could. I'm happy Valentine's Day to everybody. But also, I am very happy that we're able to continue this 88-year partnership with Ferndale. And I want to thank Mayor Castelli and City Manager Ball, as well as all, Commissioner Bushy and all of the commissioners who worked really hard on this. And I think it really brought us to a great solution for our fire and EMS safety services for Pleasant Ridge. Now, the citizens of Pleasant Ridge engaged passionately in this discussion, and I feel it really made the process a lot stronger. It's been quite a journey for all of us, and I'm glad to see us all here together. Thank you.
Thank you. I think two other people need recognition. Those are former Commissioners Lenko, who is here, and Chuck Kellett, who is not here, who worked hard on these issues as well. Any other questions or comments as to the agreement? May we take a vote?
Commissioner Perry?
Yes.
Commissioner Rubino?
Yes.
Commissioner Bushy?
Yes.
Commissioner Krzyjak?
Yes.
Mayor Costelli?
Yes, motion carries. Thank you. Now you're trapped in the front row. You can leave, or you'll be on TV.
Watch how a pro does it anyway.
Consent agenda, Sherry.
Okay. Well, there are two items on the consent agenda this evening for the City Commission consideration. The first item is a resolution in honor of President's Day, and the second is a proclamation recognizing February as Black History Month. It's my recommendation that the consent agenda be approved.
Is there such a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move the consent agenda be approved as recommended.
Support.
May we take a vote?
Commissioner Rubino?
Yes.
Commissioner Bushy?
Yes.
Commissioner Kuziak?
Yes.
Commissioner Perry?
Yes.
Mayor Costello?
Yes, motion carries. Next item is, I'm going to jump to governmental reports, then come back to liaison. Helene, always first. Kind of like being in the White House press corps.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Helene Zach, your county commissioner for now and hopefully longer, but I do want to bring up some things and remind people that particularly seniors or low-income people, if you want to waive your taxes and wait for your homestead payments, please notify the city treasurer, and without any type of financial penalty, we pass every year a resolution that you can delay your taxes without penalty. Just want to remind people about that.
Is that like for 10 years, 15 years?
It's every year you have to
So we
do
can delay
that.
paying for 10 years?
No, still have to have a payment plan. We are going to approve a ethics policy tomorrow night, or not, on Thursday morning, Board of Commissioners. I do want to let you know it's a decent ethics policy. We've had a committee that's worked on it for, frankly, a good year or so. And if anybody's interested, I have a hard copy. I'm excited to talk to you about a future thing that we're in the process of instituting is photo ID cards for veterans. One of the things, there's a lot of discounts for veterans throughout our community, and it's hard to identify who's a veteran, who's not. People don't carry discharge, papers, things like that. So there will be cards that are going to be cut by the Oakland County Clerk in the future. We've approved it, and I will let you know the details as they come. And this is a really good movement servicing veterans, especially with a lot of people returning from war. The more we can do to help people, the better. We adopted better sanitary code provisions. And yes, it does impact us here on this end of the county, protecting our water, and the licensing process is a better licensing process since we approved this. And I sit there and listen to lake things on this end of the county, but I do want to have clean water and the sanitary code working for us. And finally, just a quick update without getting partisan. There is a challenge to the new statute that was passed the end of the year. We've talked about it. It was heard in the Circuit Court in Ingham County last Wednesday. We're hoping to get some type of answer within a day or two, and then I am sure that no matter what happens, it will be appealed. So, to be continued. So, any questions?
Questions? Thank you.
You are so kind to me. Happy Yes. Idea. Thank you.
Ferndale Schools.
Good evening. My name is Jessica Stilger. I'm the communications specialist for Ferndale Public Schools. I have a few updates, reminders, and good news to share. First, I'd like to remind the community that the Ferndale Board of Education did approve placing a bond on the February 28th ballot. It will provide funds to keep buildings as up-to-date as possible, providing the best learning environment for Ferndale School students. Voters in the Ferndale School District, which includes all of Pleasant Ridge, will be asked to consider a $22.8 million bond program to fund facilities improvements, student safety enhancements, technology equipment, and energy-saving measures. This proposal extends the current bond issue beyond its scheduled expiration in 2023 to 2041. For more information, the Ferndale Schools has a couple bond pages on our website, which is ferndaleschools.org. We have a comprehensive frequently asked questions section and the official ballot language, and also a complete list of the bond project proposals. We would like to say congratulations to Ferndale High School's Lexi Brisson-Best. She will be signing her NCAA National Letter of Intent tomorrow to attend Saginaw Valley State University and play soccer. We'd also like to congratulate Troy Del Reese, who's a Ferndale High School junior, on making the All-State Choir. We'd also like to extend our congratulations and our well wishes to Shabazz Ferris. He won district wrestling last weekend, and this coming weekend he's headed to the state championship, and he's hoping for his third All-State finish. It's time for Kindergarten Roundup to think about kindergarten for fall 2012. We are having tours at Roosevelt and Kennedy every week. And if anyone is interested in the magnet program, or one of the magnet programs, the deadline for application is February 29th. That's for taking tours and filling in the paperwork. Any questions can be directed to our enrollment office at 248-586-8686 and visit our website, ferndaleschools.org, for all of the enrollment papers. I think I see our kids from Grease here, but I also wanted to mention that Grease is a spring musical, and the district, I know, is very excited about it. Opening night is March 17th. It will be a really fun show, and there's a lot of information on the new theater website, which is ferndaletheater.org. We would like to thank everyone in the community who came to our district-wide showcase extravaganza and our community breakfast, which we host in conjunction with the Ferndale Area Chamber of Commerce. We had excellent turnouts for both, and we hope that the community was able to learn more about the Ferndale schools. Just a reminder, midwinter break is next week, so it's no school, also including CASA. And the Ferndale Schools creates newsletters every week. We can send them to anyone who would like to receive them. They can sign up by emailing fpsfanout@ferndaleschools.org, and also like us on Facebook. We post all of our information there as well. And finally, we'd just like to remind everybody that the bond election day is Tuesday, February 28th.
Thank you. Questions?
Tell me again the email address to get the newsletter.
fpsfanout@ferndaleschools.org.
Thank
I can
you.
send you the link.
Great.
And
Thank you.
And Amy, to prepare people, I know you reported on it before, but this primary is different than the past, so can you let people know what they're in store for?
Right, whether you come to the polls or you request an absentee ballot, since this is a closed primary, you need to declare your party, and you'll receive that party's ballot. If you choose not to, and you just want to vote on the bond issue, you can get a ballot that just has the bond issue. But no matter which way you vote, you'll need to go into the polls and say, I'd like a Republican ballot, a bond issue ballot, or a Democratic ballot.
And as I understand from the news last night, if correct, whichever way you declare is publicly available information?
Public available information for, I think it's 22 months.
Okay, thank you. Of course, Ted.
Ted, just 1 second before you come up. I should have put these by me. I had to let you use them. And while I'm at it, I want to give one to our fire chief.
Aw.
I forgot to buy him a box of candy.
Ted?
Well, good evening, Mayor, Commission. I have a brief report. Another bin blitz is coming up. Details will follow. Tuesday the 28th, Huntington Woods will have their Environmental Committee Advisory Committee. Us Pleasant Ridgers are welcome to come. The free workshops that Huntington Woods offered, I wanted to go to it, but naturally I couldn't make it. But I did make the other workshops that were available. One workshop at Oak Park Community Center, and I got a lot of information from DTE and Consumers Power, and I'll give this to Sherry's so that it will be at Fall Ridge for your information. One little thing that I learned was if you're a senior, you could get a discount on your utilities. So give them a call.
How do they define that, Ted? How do they define senior? What age?
I don't know, but I'm over 65. So. Just by the way, did you know that on the Smart Bus you could go down to downtown Detroit, look at the boardwalk, the water, for 50 cents? Unbelievable.
Yeah.
For 50 cents.
Yeah, if you're a senior?
Yeah, if you're a senior, that's 65. Okay, Frogtown Mountain. I spoke to the puppeteers of Frogtown Mountain. They're willing to send some more of these because I mentioned that the libraries might be interested in having this in the library. And Scott Petersack, if I get the Frogtown people's permission, we'll have that on the websites so we can see it through the internet. And I know you're waiting for the visual aid, right?
Absolutely.
Today's Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody. And on Valentine's Day, you usually give a hug, don't you?
Sure.
Well, remember, put your landfill 6 feet away from your recyclables. Okay?
Very good. Yay.
I think you ought to tell the story of your first visual aid that you told me at Christmas. Where Mark Lachey was laughing and you couldn't figure out why. You had the cardboard up and then he told you the cardboard said baloney on the side.
Yeah. That started it all. Yeah. So it was good. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other governmental reports? Chief. He's trying to earn that flower.
Working on it. Mr. Mayor, Commission, we're formatting our CERT team. We're up to 46 members now. Several Pleasant Ridge residents. Anybody who's welcome to come. We'll be starting our first training session on Saturday at 10 a.m. If you haven't been to a meeting, to give us all your data on that, and at 10:30 the training will start. And then again on Tuesday at 6:30 we'll start with a meeting, 7 o'clock training, and then Wednesday. All three the same, repetitive, so if you're interested to come to any one of those 3 meetings and join up, and we will use anybody, including the handicapped. I'll have jobs for them to do if there's
Why don't you back up for those who didn't see last meeting what this is about?
Okay, CERT is a Community Emergency Response Team. It is a federally funded FEMA project. Because we're 3 communities, Pleasant Ridge, Ferndale, and Royal Oak Township, we're getting great support from the Michigan State Police, Homeland Security, as well as Oakland County Homeland Security. So we'll be funded with our training equipment, backpacks, and that. We train you to go out and check your immediate neighborhood, and then the local area, and then when you tag up with other CERT team members and tag into a police officer or firefighter, then you'll be under the incident command for the area that's in a disaster mode. And then you'll be under the control of whoever's in incident command for the fire department. And we'll use you for any kind of small firefights, first aid and all that, until we can get into an emergency responder to get to them. So when there's a lot of things, like our last storm, there's a lot of requests for help. We couldn't quite be at every wire in that. Certain members will be able to respond and give us preliminary data, and people at the station will be able to collect that data, which also allows us to put in that emergency request for help from the county, the state, or the feds, because we'll have an idea of what the damage survey is for the area. So we need data collectors as well as people out in the field collecting the data. So people that are healthy and ready to go can be out in the field, and people that don't move around and that's so good can be at our headquarters when we set up the emergency response team and operate out there.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Any other governmental reports? Liaison reports, starting to my left with Commissioner Kuziak.
Thank you, Mayor. At our January meeting,
Of?
Recreation.
Thank you.
Thank you. John Brzbala was reelected as chairman for the Rec Commission. So I want to congratulate him on that. I also want to welcome a new member to the Rec Commission, Jay Foreman. I think Jay's with us tonight. I know Jay. I know he's very enthusiastic about making his community better, and I applaud him for taking that step of service. Some things we talked about at the meeting. We talked about the art fair, and we wanted to let residents know that if you have any artists who you think would be a nice fit for our yearly event, to please pass that along to Scott Peterzak. We're taking applications for the art fair. With the recent success of the speaker series with the Historical Commission, there was discussion about expanding the speaker series into more home relevant topics. One issue that was discussed was discussion focused on rain barrel collection, and if we could work something with SACWA to maybe have some barrels on site for purchase while a speaker would describe the advantages or disadvantages of rain barrel collection. The community garden, we of course wrapped up the first year at the garden. It was, by all accounts, it was a success. People are excited about the future. There's discussion about plot size, and if you have any ideas on a perfect plot size, please pass it around or attend future rec meetings. One thing we did discuss with the unused plots was and this was something that Mr. Zachary had originated, was the idea of any plots that weren't going to be utilized by residents could be used for a pumpkin garden, with the children in the community taking part in that, and then at our fall harvest festival harvesting the pumpkins at that time. I think that's a really exciting idea. Hopefully, of course, we'd like to have 100% sales on the garden, but if there's any spots left, you can see some pumpkins sprouting up there. We talked about scheduling blood drives for the future and CPR classes. Those dates have not been finalized yet, so hopefully at our next meeting I'll have some dates for you on those. And that's really all I got right now. Back to you, Mayor.
Commissioner Bushy.
Planning Commission DDA, we also had an organizational meeting. They elected Mark Boulash as chairman, Greg Sweeney as vice chairman, and David Laidlaw as secretary, recording secretary. The DDA also was looking at items, getting scheduled dates for concert in the park. And also, they had a subcommittee working on front yard setbacks, and so we will be discussing that in item number 11 on tonight's agenda.
Thank you. Commissioner Rubino.
Historical Commission met, and we had a speaker series on January 26th, and we had 88 people that registered to come. Some of the people that registered didn't show up, but we had a whole lot of people that came that weren't on the agenda. So it was a great turnout, and it was Professor Geyer did a great job. It went on for almost 2 hours, and there was questions, and we're thinking about even embellishing it more and making it more so it defines Pleasant Ridge more than just a general consensus of older homes. In the election, Carol Supan was reelected as chairperson, Shannon Wolf as vice chairman, Jeff Han as treasurer, Jennifer Kopp as secretary, and Kathy Gillis and Scott Morrow are new members to our commission. And June the 9th, I think it is, we're going to have the home tour again in Pleasant Ridge. There's a list of homes that I have, but until they're confirmed, and by next meeting I'll have those confirmed, and then we'll tell everybody where they're going to be at. One of the things we're going to do this year, Taco Mama's going to be here and going to supply food, which I think could be a lot of fun. We're looking at some other different joining other groups to see if they want to provide water and provide food, and we're also seeing about having transportation so you can go from the west side to the east side without having to drive your car or ride your bike across Woodward. We haven't worked it all out yet, but we're hoping by the next commission meeting that we'll be able to announce everything that's going to happen. It's very exciting, and it should be a lot of fun. The home tour is usually a lot of fun, and a lot of people show up. That's it. Thank you.
And for the speaker series to be sold out is not exactly a surprise.
No, it wasn't.
It's always a full room.
Yeah, we expected 80 people, and it was well over 80. We had bring chairs in, people standing along the walls, along the side. It was it was well done. It was very exciting.
Commissioner Perry, Commissioner of everything else.
Yes. Well, it was a very exciting month, as we've heard already, about for Ferndale schools. I think a lot has gone on, and with the election coming up, that's a really important, the bond issue. It's important that we all find out as much as we can about it. And I think it really is an important issue that's helping support the infrastructure of our wonderful older buildings while still letting program dollars be dedicated to program costs. And we have some other really wonderful people here to speak on that tonight. And your report was just wonderful on the schools. I was able to attend the extravaganza as well as the community breakfast, and it was great to see these kids get up and talk about their future plans and also perform in just wonderful ways. And there's some really exciting programs going on at the schools. I am also on the transit committee for Metropolitan Detroit, and there's a really exciting, this group, the most exciting news, everything is so fluid with it right now that it's hard to report anything, but the most exciting news is that the FTA has approved for the study to go all the way from the river, Detroit River, all the way out to Pontiac. And so I think that'll be a wonderful, it's an alternatives analysis which should give some really important information to solving, a really important problem for Detroit's infrastructure and helping us, be the incredible metropolitan area that we know we are. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item is public discussion items not on the agenda. Unless the people from Greece are here for something. Are you just observers, or do we have a Greece presentation?
Greece. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
In a cappella.
Okay. So I guess we can introduce ourselves here.
I'm Sierra Onicle. I'm a senior at Ferndale High School.
I'm Harmony Sargent. I'm a senior at Ferndale High School, despite my height.
I'm Natalie Berger. I am also a senior at Ferndale High School.
Okay, so I've recently just been involved with the theater. Last year, I got involved. I was in Peter Pan. This is Peter. Which was really fun. It was a great experience. And recently, I directed the school fall play, which was The Mousetrap.
Oh, nice.
And now I'm directing Grease, and I'm a chorus member in Grease, which is a lot of fun. That's my history.
I've been involved in the Ferndale High School Theater since I was in 4th grade, but in general, I've been doing theater for 10 years. I am playing Rizzo in Grease this year.
Nice.
So it's very exciting. And I don't know, I love our theater. It's probably my favorite part of school. I'm also, for our Student Enterprise Theater organization at school, I'm the vice president.
Nice.
Well, I've been involved in the past 9 shows at Ferndale since my 8th grade year, starting with Oliver, and kind of worked my way up into being Jan in Grease as upcoming show, and I'm the representative on the Ferndale Student Enterprise Theater too, so that's me.
Well, best of luck. Have a great show.
Yeah, it's great.
When's the show?
We open March 17th, so it's that weekend, the 17th and 8th. I have a poster.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I can't remember the exact.
So is it 2 weekends?
It is 2 weekends. Yes.
Okay.
Are you guys going to sing for us now, or?
Oh.
Why do you put him on the spot?
Or do you want to take 10 minutes to plan and come back?
Next month you can come sing.
Sure.
Also at this time, we like to take time to talk about the voting on February 28th and how important it is to us. For me personally, the theater is used more than just for the theater kids. We have band and orchestra concerts, so we really need the renovations, and we could use them for like movie nights at the high school and a whole bunch of other different activities. So it would really help out and just the community overall. And we could use it for multiple things instead of just putting on plays and musicals, which are fabulous, of course. But
we need those renovations. And Natalie has a wonderful anecdote about her stepping on something. If you want to talk about
Oh,
it.
no.
Yes. So in the past, there are lights that come up from the stage and the floor, but we don't use them anymore. And so if you step on the hole, your foot falls in the hole and it gets stuck. So
Well, we tried to open one and then we couldn't get it closed, so it had to stay open because they're so old.
and
Yeah.
those need to be fixed.
So there's still a student stuck there? Is that what
There might be
feed
now,
them?
I don't know.
Because our light system is just so outdated.
Yeah.
Everything's manual. It's not computerized. It's really
You can't program anything.
Yeah.
into it.
And you have to bring them down from the ceiling. And Sarah's telling me earlier how hard it
So
is.
hard. You have to
crank
crank it down, and it takes probably like 20 minutes to get the lights down.
Biceps.
Yeah, you can build up strength, but also like our dimmer system is so old that they don't make it anymore. If something happens to it, we can't fix it.
So you're asking us to vote yes?
Yes.
Or bring a flashlight.
Yes, we make our own lighting with some flashlights. One more thing to add, because our heating and cooling system isn't very good. And it kind of just sounds like a luxury thing, like, oh, we want to be comfortable sitting in the auditorium because it does get very hot in the summer. But it also needs to be temperature controlled for our curtains, because right now they have severe dry rot and are just falling apart. Our cyclorama in the back basically has like a small child-sized hole in it, and you have little peepholes in the travelers and everything, and it's really disappointing because we can't, like, you can be as careful as possible, but they just fall apart. And also our lights are always short-circuiting too because it's not temperature controlled, and the blowers are really loud. Like, even if you're on stage with a microphone, you can't hear it. They have to be turned off. So it's really difficult.
And we also need a new soundboard because I don't even want to get into that, but there's a problem going on. We're using mics from the communications room for like the school news and bringing them into the auditorium, and it's a lot of havoc. Yeah.
And we don't have hanging mics anymore in our ceilings. They got ripped out. Well, one of them got ripped out. I don't know how. But there's only one now. So that's uneven. And we don't even have. Yeah.
There's also the acoustics.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Too. We want to get.
We don't have acoustics.
We don't have acoustics. Sometimes girls
You can get a new building.
How about a whole new auditorium?
Fly space. Anyway. So
I would hire them to work on anyone's campaign.
Yes. Thanks, you guys.
I think Peter Pan ripped out the microphone.
No comment.
Thank you very much,
Thanks
Bryce.
for your time.
Thank you.
Other items not on the agenda.
My name is Lydia McKee, and I live at Ferndale at 1456 West Saratoga in Ferndale. I go to John F. Kennedy Elementary School, and I love the schools. The teachers are nice. I love the program. Also, I like the diversity. Please vote yes for the school bond on February 20th.
Thank you, Victor. I sense a pattern.
Hello, my name is Avery Benner. I live at 41 Oakdale Pleasant Ridge, and I go to John F. Kennedy Elementary School. I enjoy the Ferndale schools because all the families that attend the Ferndale schools are really close. Also because I have great teachers and they make learning fun. Although our schools are so great, we could still use improvement. So please vote yes for Ferndale schools for the upcoming bond on February 28th.
Thank you. Other items not on the agenda.
Mayor. Jim Flager, 32 Woodside Park, Pleasant Ridge. I'm here to say what they said. So, I will not belabor the point, other than I will say I help at the school as the construction manager for the theater, and all the things I said about the theater. It's a great facility, but it's 50 years old, and some of the equipment in it is original to the theater. So, it's had improvements over the years, but there is just a lot of things that are just worn out. I have had to sew curtains, and that's not a pretty thing. Nobody wants to see that again. So we do need people considering the bond, considering the status of the schools, considering what the money is going for. And it is not going for things that are what you would call dessert. I mean, this is really soup, nuts and bolts stuff that has to be done. And we can't do it with the money we get from the state without impacting the programs that we offer to the kids. So I do want to make sure, if you have not gotten these, and I know some of you have, but there will be people walking through the city over the next couple weeks, knocking on doors, giving out these pamphlets. These are from the Citizens for Quality Schools, encouraging people to vote yes for it. I'm sure you've all seen the website that the district has, talking about what the bond is for, where the money is going to. Vast majority of the money is going into the middle school, high school, and for technology. In Pleasant Ridge, there's a significant amount of money to get a kitchen put into that school so that the kids that go there in our city can have food that's cooked there. Right now, all the food has to be trucked in, which means it's got to be prepared very early, and so it sits and it's not as good as we would like it to be. So if you're wavering about which way, please, take the time, take a look at the website. Talks about exactly what the money is going to go for. I've heard people worrying about, well, are you going to spend the money once you get it for that? There was a citizens committee that put together the list of items that we're asking for the bond. There will be the operations committee, which has citizen representatives on it that will oversee that. As a member of the school board, and finance committee, we will oversee what the money's going to be spent on. It will be spent on the things that we're talking about. Now, if we happen to get lucky, and right now it's a reasonably good time from an economy standpoint, we may get to do even more than what we had if the bids come in low. If they come in high, of course, we'll be stuck with making some decisions. But at a minimum, the focus is on exactly what we said the bond is for. That's where the money is going to go for. And if folks didn't even believe any of us, at the end of the bond, we will be audited by the district's audit company to say, did you actually spend the money where you said it was going to? So hopefully we can put that concern away. The money's going to go for exactly what it was intended for and what we're asking people to vote for. So I'm asking everybody to vote yes. So does anybody not have one of these?
Yeah, leave some here and we'll have them.
Thanks.
Thank you. Questions?
Mayor, if I could, I just wanted to commend Sierra, Harmony, and Natalie, Lydia and Avery for coming out tonight. I was at the Ferndale meeting last night, and Ryan, another devoted student at Ferndale Schools, got up and spoke very eloquently in favor of this bond proposal. I would like to applaud the youngsters for coming out. I think it's important that you guys be advocates for your classmates. So I know it's difficult to get up there and speak, so I applaud you for doing that. I also applaud the parents and adults who have been advocates on this issue. I just ask that the residents of our community get the facts and get out and vote on February 28th.
Other questions? Thank you. Good luck. Other items not on the agenda. Next item is a report by the Pleasant Ridge Planning Commission regarding the Pleasant Ridge zoning ordinance front yard setback requirements. Sherry.
Well, Mayor, you will recall that this was an item that was referred to the Planning Commission, and that was to take a closer look at the minimum front yard setback requirement that exists in our zoning ordinance. The reason for this seemed to be a flurry of variance requests for front yard setbacks because anytime someone does a repair or replacement of their front porch and they are not meeting the standard of the zoning ordinance, a variance requirement kicks in. And so I thought it would be an appropriate time, and the City Commission agreed and referred it to the Planning Commission, who then set up a subcommittee. The subcommittee met with our city planner and me, and we did some investigative work, provided them a number of variance requests and a sample of what it was that the zoning board would look at in these cases. And then we did an interesting survey, and that was to see what the average distance was for properties and streets east of Woodward Avenue, because that's where the front yard setbacks seem to be especially narrow or shallow. After much discussion, there was only 2 meetings, but after discussing and taking a look at all of the information, it was the recommendation of the subcommittee that the 30-foot minimum front yard setback remain in place. That reducing it would only lead down a slippery slope of additional variances where the zoning board would be faced with looking at perhaps even a more shallow front yard setback, and that 30 feet seemed to be in line with not the average, but with what property owners could deal with, and that the zoning board should consider this on an individual basis. So after discussing that at the level of the planning commission, the formal recommendation came from the planning commission to the city commission that no changes be made to the current zoning ordinance and the minimum front yard setback remain at 30 feet from the back of the sidewalk.
Any questions?
Yeah, I have a question for you, Sherry. One of the problems I see is that because I went and looked at a lot of the porches on the east side, and there are some problems where some of the steps are short and high, and if they were replaced and put back in to be code, they would now be encroaching into the space that they're already shorter than the 30 feet right now. So they would be not conforming, so they wouldn't be able to replace that porch.
There are many properties like that, and that was, the reason for the concern. You are allowed to encroach a certain distance into the front yard setback for a porch and for steps, and steps are actually not considered in the measurement of the setback.
Good.
So, it's somewhat of a concern, but I think that, it made sense not to make any change because reducing it is certainly even more dangerous. But it does kick in this requirement to many property owners east of Woodward because most of them are non-conforming. So if they do repairs or replacement of that porch, they'll be before this body, which sits also as the zoning board.
Well, a repair would be okay
A
though,
change.
as long as they're not changing
The structure.
footprint, right? The
That's
footprint
correct.
of that particular porch.
Yes, they can make a repair and replace it exactly as is.
Right.
It's
Some
when
of
they
the porches are
change.
pretty small.
I know.
If they made any size difference and brought them out so that they're at least something you can sit on. Because some of them are really tiny, they're just for entering and exiting the home. And if they made it any larger and brought it out any distance, then that would be part of the encroachment.
But then you get into the factor of configuration of the lot being one of the factors that can be considered.
But even, you talk about the total building space allowable on a lot?
I'm not talking about we're just talking about the setback here.
And the reason for
That's
granting
what
a
I'm talking
variance.
about, yeah.
And the reason for granting a variance.
But it's among the criteria for looking at a variance is the configuration of the lot and the fact that whatever the condition is wasn't created by the homeowner and that type of thing. I can't think of too many variances that we've turned down
Well, that was
of that type where we're just dealing with.
Right, we haven't turned them down, and I agree with that. The question I have is, does that also provide us a problem in the future, being a slippery slope, and we keep granting all these variances without having some kind of rule?
Well, it does, but then the other slippery
Absolutely.
slope is that if we go ahead and we reduce it to 25 feet, then we got coming
You got
down
people
another
who want
bad.
20.
Then we're gonna like for 20, so that's why the reason of staying at 30 feet was recommended, because
Right, and
You know,
then
you're
you
just
just
gonna keep
consider
going.
it on an
Just
individual
gonna keep
basis,
going.
which is difficult. And
It just
I
keeps
don't
going down the
envy the
road, you know
zoning
how-
board for some of these requests that
We
they
used to
have
call
to make.
ourselves the Garage Board of Appeals.
Right.
Now we're gonna be the porch.
It seems like we switched to
All right,
porches.
all right.
This is not an action item, this is a report. Any other
Yes.
questions? City Manager's report.
I just have a few items. I don't have to report on the fire tonight. So, a reminder that the 50 Plus Club Valentine's Party is tomorrow night on the 15th. It starts at 6, ends about 8.
I
And
know where I'm gonna get fed tomorrow. That's
admission
great.
is $5. So you are supposed to make reservations, but I'm sure if you show up, you'll be welcomed. I will give you just a brief report. I attended a webinar this week on the state budget, and Governor Snyder introduced many of the items, and the MML provided some great detail, more detail I should say, and more will follow. But just to let you know that the EVIP funds have been increased this year because the governor has determined that that is a successful program. It has been increased significantly, and there is an additional $25 million available in grants for collaborative and consolidated services. Revenue sharing, for the first time in a long time, will not be changed, other than there will be a 2% increase in the constitutional portion of revenue sharing. For the first time in a long time, those figures are now available, and we have been able to start our budgeting with some accurate numbers and not having to guess. Brownfield and historic credits are gone. They have been replaced with what is titled Community Revitalization and Business Revitalization credits. Not a lot of detail on that yet, but there will be more information released on that in March. Additional transit funding, which seems to have gained the governor's attention and support, has been allocated in the upcoming budget for the state. And we were able to see some of the new dashboard requirements that, all municipalities had to comply with. This was one of the governor's requirements in order for us to qualify for any revenue sharing this year. Our dashboard, as you know, in Community Guide was used as a model, which I'm proud to say. But one of the new requirements in the dashboard is all communities will comply with a 3-year budget plan, which we have done in the past, so it won't be a difficult transition for us. But that'll be interesting to see exactly. It sounds at this point like it's simply a revenue expenditure report, but we'll see again when I learn more in March. So it was an interesting webinar with some far more clarification than what we learn at the presentation of the budget. I will also add that we still need a member for the Board of Review. We have exhausted our call list, so if there is anyone available, that's coming up very soon. And if you're available, we would appreciate you to... We actually pay for this, so we're not asking for a volunteer.
But you do get invited to the volunteers' dinner.
Yes, you do. So, if you'll contact the city clerk if you are able and willing to serve on that board. My final item is an update on Polar Environmental. In January, this is an ongoing conversation between the two cities, Ferndale and Pleasant Ridge, and the MDEQ. The last conversation that was held included the two city managers. Our fire chief was on the line, as well as the city's assistant manager, Scott Peterzak. MDEQ had a representative from the Air Quality Division, a permit specialist, and the Toxics Unit specialist. The news is that the permit has been received from Polar by the MDEQ, and they are what's called the exploratory process. They found some questions, and not surprisingly, going through the process, they have submitted comments and questions to Polar and asked for them to complete that. The MDEQ has 180 days from January 5th was the date that this permit was submitted to complete the process, and so sometime between now and approximately June there will be a public hearing. All residents from the area will be invited, and they have agreed that they will hold the public hearing in the Ferndale area. I know that the city manager in Ferndale is willing to find space, whatever is available, and we'll do a good job of trying to get that word out to everyone once we are notified of the date and the location, which we haven't received. I did learn that once Polar meets the requirements of the permit and it's satisfactory to the MDEQ, a permit will be issued. It is rare, sounded impossible, that a permit is not issued. So, but they are stricter guidelines that are followed, and there are inspections involved, even though I wish they were more frequent. There are stricter guidelines. So I think the next step is to wait and watch for the notice of the public hearing. All comments, that there's a 30-day public comment period. So once they hold it, people who are unable to attend will also be able to submit questions and comments by phone and by internet. And they were very clear in saying that all comments will receive a response. And all questions and comments that they determine to be of concern and need further attention will be addressed via the permit process. So that is the latest update on the polar environmental issue, and just to let you know that that's certainly not off my desk. And that's all I have.
Questions? Sherry, the status of the state and their own dashboards?
They don't, no, they're not prepared. So although we all have had to meet the deadlines, and the deadlines were fast and furious, and knowing that if you did not meet these deadlines, they were going to withhold your funding was a pretty scary thing. And then we learned that the state has not been able to comply with their own deadlines. So
And,
you just have to love it.
And the status of the people who are supposed to administer the grants?
They have, I learned this just last week, or I guess it was week before last, when I called about the recent grant that the city received, because obviously there are a million questions and some clarifications, like there are with every grant. Called to ask these questions, set up an appointment to meet with them, and I learned that their state is in the process of appointing people to administer the grants, some of whom have never worked on grants in their career time with the state. So it's going to be an interesting process. And I was also told that they were not accepting questions by letter, by internet, or telephone, or scheduling any meetings until near the end of February. And so I said, but there's a deadline with this grant that we must comply, and our governing body meets once a month. So I asked if they would extend that deadline, and they just didn't even have an answer. They said probably, we'll probably have to, but I have since been able to schedule the very first meeting that they are going to hold. So I will keep you informed on that.
Thank you. Other business? Amy?
Just wanted to announce that absentee ballots are available at City Hall. The applications are available in my office or online. Fill it out, bring it in. We can issue an absentee ballot for certain criteria. Again, the election is February 28th. It'll be held at Four Ridge Road for everybody in Pleasant Ridge, and the polls are open from 7 a.m. until 8 p.m. Assessment notices were mailed out about a week ago. So if you have not gotten your notice, give me a call and we can get you a duplicate copy of that notice. The March Board of Review is going to meet the 13th, 14th, and 15th. That's by appointment. On the back of your assessment notice is the instructions on how to make an appointment. And today, February 14th, winter taxes are due at midnight tonight. And summer taxes are due February 29th.
And February 25th, you're going to be doing what?
February 25th, I will be in the office from 9 until 2, accepting absentee ballot applications and issuing ballots.
And that's the Saturday?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any other business? For anybody who hasn't had Valentine's Day dinner, the rack of lamb at Cork is wonderful. It's the special tonight. Any motion to adjourn? So moved. Is there support? All in favor? Aye. We're adjourned.